When my daughter would come to me crying, it didn't matter what she was crying about, but she could sit on my knee, snot in my sleeve, just cry out. Daddy's got you. That's all that's important. Now when my son came to me crying, it would be like a clock going off. I would give the boy 30 seconds until he came up crying to me. Then I would end up saying things like, "Why are you crying? Keep your head up. Look at me when I'm talking to you. What's wrong?" And out of my own frustration in building it up to fit these structures and guides of being a man, I would just find myself saying, "Just go to your room. Go to your room and come back and talk to me when you can talk like a man." Like a man. And he's only 5 years old. As I grew up in life, I would just find myself saying, "Why would I do this? What's wrong with me? Why would I do this?" And then I think back. I think back to my father. From young boys, we are self-taught to be a man, to be tough, to not cry, and most of all, to not show any emotion. The journey of boyhood to manhood shouldn't be a war or a battle. Boys shouldn't have to fight their emotions, pin down their feelings. And most of all, they shouldn't die for keeping it in. But we require our young boys to keep their emotions in check. We use figures of battle and war and being a soldier, of denying your feelings for your entire life. If masculinity is just limited to just one idea, to just one label, but in reality, there are multiple ways of being a man. From the prose, Why I'm Done Being Man Enough by Tony Porter, A Call to Men by James Baldoni, The Mass We Live In by Jennifer Newsom. From the drama, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. From the poetry, 10 responses to the phrase Men Up by Kyle Grant. Men Down, a program, because becoming a man should not be a battle. Growing up in New York City, we were taught that being a man, you need to be tough. You need to be courageous, dominant, no pain, no gain, and especially no emotion, with the exception of anger. That men are in charge and women are not. That you should just follow us and do what we say. That women are less value, property to us men, objects, particularly sexual objects. I've better realized this collective socialization of men to be better known as the man box. I've been pretending to be a man my entire life. I've been pretending to be strong when I felt weak, confident when I felt insecure, and tough when I was really hurting. It's exhausting trying to be man enough all the time. For as long as I can remember, I've been told of what kind of man I should be. But all I wanted growing up was to fit in with the other boys. But that acceptance meant I had to find this almost disgusted view on the feminine. But this is the script that we've been given, right? Boys are strong, girls are weak. This has been subconsciously communicated throughout young boys and girls' minds throughout the world, just like it was with me. Stop crying! Don't cry! Pick yourself up! Be a man! Be a man! Do something! So man up! Man up! Act like a man! Be a man! But for men in particular, when the patriarchy says that it's okay to grab a woman's ass and deny her the space and comfort, you accept this as a way of treating another human being. You deny yourself the opportunity to understand why you desire this power and comfort in the first place. The ego wants dominance, and the male ego is currently everywhere. Here we celebrate our boys, who in turn celebrate one another. You killed it, big guy! You went in that game, guns a-blazing! You knocked him dead, big guy. It was a blowout. No, it was a massacre. My son, he is a beast. He's a ladies' killer. He blew them away. Dude, did you bag her? Yeah, she's a grenade. I'd still bang her. I smash it, bro. She's the bomb. She's blowing up. I'm dead serious. To some extent, these are only metaphors, hyperbolic of speech, nothing else. But they are, to my mind, a strong connection between the roots and phrases of this country's violent past. From the founding fathers to the manifest destiny, America was self-founded on the self-made, revolutionary turned explorer and colonization. The American paradox of hegemonic masculinity is a paradox of identity. Because American life was founded on death. We had to find some sort of practice to make death, to celebrate it. So, death was considered progress. Its metaphors soon became the very measurements of life, of our boys. So, you killed it! What's even more upsetting is when men often allow themselves to feel this pain, they often kill themselves. Because men feel better killing themselves than actually acknowledging this pain. We live in a society where it's okay to do that. But it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have love your mom and dad. It's okay to take a moment to accept these truths. Man up! That's not new superhero, right? The man-mannered supplement Mark Manstrong says the words, "Man up!" and he turns into the 5 o'clock shadow. The leather-dusting, muscled, massive man, Superman, who saves the world from, I don't know, feelings? You ever notice how they never say woman up? They just imply it. Because the woman movement and the women that were a part of this found a way that being ordered around by magazines, music, is just dehumanizing. When will men figure this out? How many boys have to kill themselves before this country acknowledges this problem? How many women have to be assaulted? How many gays have to be murdered? We teach our boys to wear a skin of another man. We teach them to raise that skin like a flag and draw blood for it. Man up. No. Are you strong enough to dive headfirst into your emotions? To dive into your shame? Are you strong enough to be sensitive? To cry when you are happy? To cry when you are weak, even if it makes you look weak? Are you confident enough to listen to the women in your life? To hear their ideas and their solutions? And will you be man enough to stand up to other men when you hear a locker room talk? When you hear our boys talking about grabbing ass or getting her drunk? Will you actually stand up and do something? So that one day we don't live in a society where a woman has to risk everything to say the words, "Me too." Guys, this is real. I'm just scratching the surface here. Because if we go deeper, it gets uglier and uglier. But as men, it's time to start seeing our past privilege and recognize the problem. Fellas, we are the problem. The glass ceiling is there because we put it there. And words are no longer enough. So women, on behalf of men all over the world that feel the same way as me, please forgive us for all the ways we have hurt you and have not relied on your strength. Now we'd like to ask for you formally to help us and forgive us. We cannot do this alone. We are men. We're going to mess this up. We're going to be tone deaf. We're probably going to ignore you. We're probably going to say the wrong thing and going to offend you. But don't lose hope. We are only here because you put us here. Like you as men, we need to stand up and become your allies. You fight against pretty much everything. We need to help you and celebrate our vulnerability and being patient as we discover our vulnerability. As we take this long journey to our head, to our hearts.